Today's lesson is going to start by reviewing what we did before we went on our break with comparing and contrasting the book to the movie. So, if you go to your Google Classroom, you're going to see that on December 14th through 18th, we watched the movie, and you had to fill out this document in which you were trying to compare and contrast the book and the movie. So now down here is where they both have something in common, and up here is where you talked about the differences. You will need this for today's lesson because you want to pick out your top three things that you'd like to discuss in your essay. So let's go ahead and pull that up right now, and then we're going to talk about some things in our lesson. So we're obviously writing our essay. Our objective before break was to collect evidence that demonstrates how the book and the movie were both different and alike. So you already have that in that document. Well, today we are going to try and pick out the most significant similarities and the most significant differences. And then the final thing we'll have done by the end is talking about which one you like better. Did you like the movie version? Did you like the book version better? And then kind of explaining why you thought so. So the first thing I want to do is kind of talk about similarities that we found. Now, when I watched the movie, I watched it a few times. You can see like I have a lot of notes on my pages. So I'm just going to kind of tell you some of them. You want to pick out the three biggest ones you can think of that you feel like are easy to explain. So, for example, some of the similarities that were in both of them, obviously Freak dies. Now, how he dies is different, but the fact that like one of the main characters still passes away, that's going to be important, right? You could also talk about maybe how Max still has a learning disability. Freak taught Max about the King Arthur because basically that was the basis of like the whole book was King Arthur and them going on quests and saving people, etc., etc. Maybe you want to talk about how Max rescues Freak from Blade when they had to go in the water in that little encounter, or the mechanical bird that got stuck in the tree. You can talk about the sulfuric acid within the water gun, the kidnapping, all of that. So I want you just to pick out your three biggest things that you can explain that are the same, and you are going to put this in the assignment that I posted today, right here. So three big difference, or I'll do it here. Three big similarities between the book and the movie. Literally type a complete sentence because you're going to just copy and paste this later on when we write our body paragraphs tomorrow. So the three similarities you can think of, and then some differences. So now for the differences, you're going to want to talk about both the book and the movie when you're explaining it. So some differences could be like maybe you talk about how there were no the dictionary, Freak's dictionary was never mentioned in the movie, and you can talk about the importance of that. Well, obviously, Freak knows a lot of big words. He tries to help Max learn some things. So I might write down in the movie The Mighty, and you want to put this in italics because it's the title. In the movie The Mighty, there was no mention of Freak's dictionary. In the book, Freak the Mighty, the dictionary was a symbol of Freak's knowledge that he was passing on to Max. Something like that. So I'm just going to discuss a few more of the differences that I found. Once again, pick whatever, any three that you feel like you want to be able to discuss. So we have that. We have, I think a big difference was how Freak passed away. So he passed away at home in the movie, but in the book, he was in the hospital. The whole ending scene of what happened with Max in the hospital was a little bit different. You could talk about the kidnapping, because the kidnapping happened in the apartment, and Loretta gave Max a blade to try and cut himself free, but that never happened in the book. Um, Nowhere in the movie does it talk about Max having to testify against his father. And I feel like that's kind of important because it kind of is a an emotional part of the story. And then the last one that I might discuss is how Kevin's mom in the movie said that your dad disappeared because he had a birth defect, but in the book we knew that it was Loretta that said this. I think the impact of that leaves kind of a different implications depending upon who tells you that your father kind of left when you were a kid. So all you want to do right now is just type out those differences for both that you can think of, that you can explain, because you will have to pull text evidence for this or be able to explain it in more detail. And then finally, you're going to talk about 3 reasons why you like the book or the movie better. Now, we're in 7th grade, so you probably know, don't put something like, I like the book or I like the movie better because I hate reading. I like the movie better because it was quicker than reading the book. Okay, those aren't sufficient answers. Maybe you'll say something like, I like the book better because it gave more vivid details about the story. I like the movie better because I was able to picture what was happening easier with actually seeing it happen. I like the movie better because of the sound or the location. Maybe you like the book better because um, you picture the characters differently than what you had seen in the movie. Something that you feel like you can explain 3 reasons why you would choose reading over watching the movie or watching the movie over reading. So that's going to be what we are doing for today. And you can also give a counterexample. If you want to say, I think most people would like the movie better because blank, you can do that. That's called a counterexample. Now, I think the movie could probably be updated a little bit. It's, I think, over 20 years old. So having maybe a more updated movie would be another reason why you'd like the book over the movie. Whatever it is that you feel like you can explain the best is what you should do for today's assignment. Now, you want to make sure that you're just stating 3 things, because you don't want your paragraphs to be like 20 sentences long. Just choose 3 for each of them and try and think about what's not important. What should I not include? Maybe don't include things like freak head glasses in the movie and not in the book. Okay, that's not very significant. If it doesn't impact the rest of the story, that means it's not quite as important. If you're not sure, just go ahead and email me, or I'm going to read through these at the end to give you some suggestions. So you can kind of improve it along the way. This is just a draft. So although you're turning it in, it's meant to be a draft so that when we continually add things to it and make it better, at the end, it'll be what's actually graded for your actual essay grade.